Brother wants to go hiking. MFW brother is a fat ass whose job is sitting in a booth checking in truckers at a warehouse. Doesn't have the time 'cause of work. Whatever. Fast forward a year. Brother gets fired 'cause he's white. Starts bugging me to go hiking with him. Tell him to plan a trip and we'll go. He doesn't make any plans. Whatever. He keeps bugging me. Make the plans. Doesn't make plans. This continues for around a month or so. Asterisk hey Anon, when are we gonna go hiking? MFW, I've had enough of it. Alright, boot your computer, we're planning the trip right now. Find close-ish state park. Look at the trails online. Let's just do the 8-mile loop. It says the average time is only 5 hours. I doubt this MF can walk 8 miles on an 8% grade, but I've been surprised before. Sure, we'll do that one. Next day. Hey bro, do you have your pack ready? Yeah bro, I got everything I need. His pack consisting of a shoulder-slung lunchbox with Welch's gummies, 2 oranges, and 4 bottles of water. A walking stick. Broom handle with electrical tape on one end. No fucking way. Convince him he needs a backpack. Refuses to take the actual walking staff I offered him. The day of arrives. Uneventful drive up there. He remembered to bring a hat. Nice. We arrive at the park. Grab a map. Asterisk should we drive to the trailhead or just hike to it from the entrance? Let's just hike to it, we're an hour early anyways. 2 extra miles. Okay. Start hiking. Signage is pretty shit, so we make some wrong turns. Eventually get on the correct trail. Asterisk can we stop soon, I'm getting hungry. Me too, we'll stop when we reach the trailhead on the overlook. Reach the trailhead, very pretty overlook. We have a snack and rest for a few minutes. It's all downhill from here. We set out onto the trail around midday. Sun is ravenous. This trail is unique as it navigates through a forest that experienced a fire about 10 years ago. Meaning the shade is non-existent. Going steady for about 4 miles. Find a patch of trees to stop under. I don't think I packed enough water. Take a look. He swapped 2 of the water bottles out for sweet tea. Sweet tea has baked in the sun for the entire trail. Rancid. Retard. It's fine, you can have some of mine if you need it, we're making decent time, just keep this pace and you'll be fine. Start heading out. He starts huffing after about a half mile. When can we stop? We just started again? Trail starts narrowing. Trail starts going uphill. Asterisk man, can we stop soon? Nigga, we haven't even done a full mile yet, we'll stop at the end of this section. Remind him this was all his idea. We trudge up the trail for a while longer. Asterisk man, I gotta stop for a while. Our pace has slowed to a crawl, about 0.8 miles an hour. Bro, we're almost to the next stop, just keep going. I can tell he's not doing too hot, but I figure he'll be fine once we rest for a bit. Remind him this was his idea. Asterisk alright bro, but can I use your walking stick for a while? This one's cutting my hand up. Asterisk alright, you can use mine. His stick is indeed shit as he wrapped the tape the wrong direction, and it's too short. Make it to the stop. Bro rests against a tree and eats a, now liquefied, orange. We need to pick up the pace or we're gonna be late. We rest for about 20 minutes. Set off again. Next stretch is about 2 miles, rest area at the end of the trail is the next stop, then the last 2 back to the parking lot. Bro is huffing and puffing as soon as we set off. Asterisk man, my legs are killing me. Remind him of the cost of having to be rescued. Remind his this was his idea. We slow to an absolute snail's pace. It dawns on me that the possibility of us not leaving before sundown is very real. I gotta stop for a minute, man. No, get the fuck up. Repeat. We walk for what feels like 3 hours. Hey, there's a sing up there, must be getting close to the end. Hallelujah. Walk up to the sign. Examine the map. We've only walked 1 mile. Fuck. We gotta pick up the pace or we ain't gonna get out of here before nightfall. Bro looks like he's melting. I can't go any faster, man. Offer him some water. He gulps down about a quart of my water, of which I was already running low. About 1 pint left for the last 3 miles. Fuck. We get going again. I can't keep going, man. The fuck you can't. Bro collapses. Remind him this was his idea. Sit for 5 minutes in the afternoon sun. Repeat every 500 feet. He finally manages to drag himself the last mile. Reach the stop. Small parking lot with a water tap coming out of the ground. Thank the Lord. Bro collapses again at the fountain about 200 feet from the parking lot. Open the tap to fill my, now empty, water jug. Nothing. Fuck. The water tap is dry. I can't keep going, just take my keys and go on, pick me up once you get the car. Contemplate calling him a faggot. Realize I'm 2 hours behind schedule. Fuck it, whatever. Take the keys. Start sprinting up the last 2 miles. Still going uphill somehow. Get a call from our dad. Asterisk, is everything okay? Bro collapsed and I'm getting the car. Asterisk, well, try to get home soon. Will do. Continue sprinting. Going way too fast, starting to get tired. Can't stop now or else we're fucked. Keep pushing on. Finally make it to the camping areas about a half mile from the car. See a water spout in a vacant RV spot. Run over and pull out my water jug. Fill herb. Tastes like pure fucking ambrosia, like the nectar of the gods themselves has graced my lips. After taking my heavenly chug of water, I get going again. Decide to slow down to my regular pace as sprinting over concrete fucking hurts. Finally make it to the car. Sweet relief. I throw my shit in the back and start it up. Bro can fucking wait, I'm going to the gift shop first to get my walking stick patch. Drive over. Get out and head to the door. Locked. Hours 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Current time 4:39 p.m. I struggle to contain my unabashed fury as I get back in the car. Go to get bro. Windy hill country roads. Having fun blasting about the twisty hills in my brother's shitbox. Reach the parking lot. He's sleeping on the ground. Lay on the horn. He wakes up and stumbles into the car. Immediately reclines the seat all the way back. Asterisk, can you drive back home? I need some rest. Consider telling him to kill himself. Decide it's not worth the effort. Fine. The ride home was fine, he was out like a light, so I just listened to Jim Croce the whole way back. Overall pretty shit experience. I frankly did not think he was gonna crash so hard so suddenly. For the first few miles he seemed fine and was keeping a good pace, but then he shit the bed. Sorry if it was a bit long and not very dramatic, but it's more of a cautionary tale about first time hikers. I was probably a bit harsh on him, but he just refused to fucking listen to me.
I've never visited this board, so excuse any errors I make regarding board culture. Here is a story that is currently happening to me. I'll give a little background and then go green text. My buddy David has 800 acres near Galena, Alaska. We're up here building onto his house and fishing the nearby rivers on our off days. We're about 15 miles back on a gravel road that goes further onto BLM. There are a few logging trucks a day on the main road, but basically no traffic after the sun sets. The first day we got here together in my Tacoma 4x4. We unscrewed the plywood off the windows, brought our bags onto the porch. Got his generator started up and unlocked his various outbuildings. The air was stale and a little rank, like a dead cat. Opened side door to kitchen, opened the back door of the cabin and the windows that you could open. Didn't go upstairs, just let the place air out. Sat down on the porch to rest and quench our thirst. It's only been in the low 60s, but the plywood was heavy. We sat there and planned our remodel, generally shot the shit, happy to be here. He fiddled with his bait and tackle and I admired the view from the front porch. Now I'm not really a ghost or spirit believer, but I saw something last weekend. It's real quiet and there was a lull in our conversation. Then out of the corner on my eye I saw somebody walk out the open kitchen door. I rotated in my seat to see who was there. I barely saw the guy turn the comber towards the back of the house towards the forest. What the fuck? David yells. Did you see that motherfucker? I did, dude. Who the fuck is that? David runs out to his truck where he has a Mossberg 590A. It's buried deep in our knock boxes and we had a bunch of shit to unload to get to it. We just throw shit out of the truck till we get the box open. We decide to search the rest of the house first, scattergun in hand. We go upstairs. We look into the 2 bedrooms, under beds, and everything. Nothing, no sign of squatters, animals, nothing. We both affirm we saw a little man with no shirt walk out of the kitchen door to our left from the main porch. We then go towards the back forest. The house and the pad they built it on has a thick gravel base right up to the forest. The forest floor is a thick mat of leaves, needles and duff and hard to track in. We looked all around and found no tracks. With the sun going down and all of our shit exposed, we decided going further into the forest was a bad idea. We both go back inside and close all of the windows, unpack our tools. Set up our gear in the lower 2 bedrooms. We regroup in the kitchen and start guessing who that was. Was it a squatter that was living elsewhere on the land and heard us opening up the plywood? Thief? Animal? Either way, we're 2 badass carpenters with guns and not afraid to throw down with some little fucktard. We both go to bed. The next day we start setting up out tools and saws under tarps. We had the shotgun on a sawhorse nearby. Unloaded table saws and miter saws, setting up sawhorses. Getting all the blades adjusted and going through the lumber he has on site. We brought cement to pour a post and pier foundation for his addition. We unloaded that and decided to go fish in a river about 300 yards downhill from us. He caught 2 trout right off that bat and I caught one about 20 minutes in. It slowed down after that and we hiked further upstream. That's where we heard rustling across the stream from us. It could have been any number of animals, so we stood sharp. We fished there for about 2 more hours and Dave started gutting the fish we had. We both head up to the house to wash up and fry some fish. After the last few bites of fish go down, Dave stands up at the table. He says he left his bench made down there where he was gutting the trout. He grabs a flashlight and heads down there. He said he looked for the rock with the fish guts on them. Said his knife was there, but the fish guts were gone. He half jogged back to hide, being scared. Later that night, right after we both go to our bedrooms and shut off the lights. In the total silence I hear footsteps on the 2nd story. I think maybe an animal or squirrel snuck up there. Try to ignore it. It gets more frequent, with the steps going away from me towards the staircase. Dave calls out loudly, "Is that you up there?" "No," I answer, now to my bedroom door. We both open our doors at the same time and step into the main room. We bumped off of each other in the dark and both looked at the upper staircase. I saw what looked like a small boy, but his face was almost featureless and his eyes seemed pitch black in the low light. "Dave, who the fuck are you?" The figure slowly steps to the railing like he was going to answer us. Instead he let out an incredibly loud ear-ripping screech. Like what you imagine a T-Rex would sound. It was so loud I covered my ears and stumbled to the floor in the dark. It was so loud it disoriented me. From the ground I look up at the 2nd floor just in time to see it run back into the bedroom. Dave ran past me with his Mossberg in hand. Dave ran to the top of the stairs and turned the hall light on. He then ran straight into the bedroom and out of my sight. Boom. 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 At this point I am beyond scared and almost physically shutting down. Like heat stroke or hypothermia. I knew that those gunshots meant that Dave may have just killed somebody. Dave reappears at the top of the staircase. He jumped out of the window and ran into the forest. He's like a deformed midget, his back was all fucked up and he was on his hands and knees. "What? Did you hit him? If his legs are fucked up, how did he run away?" I don't know, but he jumped out and ran into the fir trees. We both went out the back door and turned on the exterior lights. There was no blood on the gravel, the smell of burnt powder was still in the wind. Was he up there all day? Dave, he must have been, he probably snuck up there while we were working. So why would he go up there? Anything of value? Dave, fucking nothing, old blankets, and pillows. Dave, do you have your game cam? Dave, yes, it's in the truck. He goes out to his truck, while I watch from the front door. Again the enormous sound shatters the night. I imagined that the sonic crowd control weapons you hear about would feel like this. I instinctually covered my ears and let go a little pee into my boxers. Dave had dropped his gun and keys out of shock. He jumped into the Tacoma and locked the door. Keys and shotgun on the ground outside of his truck. I close the front door and stare at Dave through the window. He can see behind the house and I can't. His mouth is agape. Figure fuck this. Run out towards truck, grab gun, grab keys and beat on window for Dave to open up. He comes to me as white as a ghost and opens the door. Frankly, I'm too afraid to look up towards the back of the house and just rush back to the door with Dave in my arms. I slam the front door and start locking all doors and windows. Dave is pretty much in shock. What did you see, nigger? What did you see? Dave swallows deeply and says, it was a stretched out dead guy that roared at us. He then rolls over and barfs on his floor. I am really starting to panic and experience tunnel vision. I never knew what that meant until that moment. I give Dave a rag and we sit on the couches. Who the fuck was it, Dave? A dead guy? Dave, it looked dead and ashy, but it made that noise, and then made a scary face when it saw me. Its face moved into an evil shape. Let's leave, dude. Dave, one can't leave all my tools here. Let's drive into town and get a motel then. Dave, okay. We grabbed out phones and wallets and the Mossberg. Dave insisted on setting up the game cam before we left. He wanted it on the front door, but I said let's put it out back on a tree to see if this thing comes back. We put up the cam on a tree directly behind his house under full gun coverage. We then jump into the Tacoma and peel away from the house. We drove back into town, but everything is booked, so we sleep in the truck. In the morning after breakfast, we drive back to his place. We pack up all of our tools as quickly as we can. We screw the plywood back up. Then with the engine already running, I go retrieve the game cam. I didn't get to download them until today when I got back home. I'm pretty sure what we saw was that little man in the center and a little left of the tree.
This is kinda long and not incredibly scary, but here's a weird experience I had while working as a camp counselor in Minnesota. Not skinwalker or Native American shit. Be me. 17. Work at a summer camp in Minnesota. Place is about 4 hours north of the Twin Cities. North Woods, lots of lakes and not a ton of people. Second year as a counselor. It's a sleepaway camp, so you get like a cabin of 8 to 10 kids for a week with one other counselor helping you. Camp is about 15 minutes down a dirt from the nearest town. My third week into my 7-week stint, things are going well. Just a few shitty kids I've had to deal with, but nothing special. Co-counselors have been fine too since everyone is pretty close. It's a YMCA camp BTW. Praise Jesus.jpg. Start of third week and I get my new co for the week. French dude named Pascal. Like 15 to 20 Frenchies work at the camp because of some YMCA exchange program. Most of them are pretty normal. Pascal is chill but English is a little iffy. Start our week with no issues, but campers are ages 10 to 12, which is basically the worst to deal with. Dick jokes, cursing, preteen rebellion and body odor etc. Surprisingly not that bad. They like us, so everything is fine from Sunday, when they arrive, till Wednesday. On Wednesday we do our overnight. Basically where our cabin packs tents and food and goes camping for one night at a campsite of our choosing that's about 1 to 4 miles from the main camp. I've done it many times, so not really an issue, especially with an older age group. Counselors chose the campsite, so I picked this one named Lone Pine. Never been to it, about 3.7 mile hike from main camp. Run it by Pascal. Him and the campers don't give a fuck. Excited to go out and fish and make fires and shit. We head out right after lunch. Counselors wear these big ass bags called Duluth packs that have our tents and food. Hike there takes a while, but it's really pretty and nice weather. Get to the site, on a small lake. There's so many in this area of Minnesota that if there's no houses on it, probably doesn't have a name. Average size site, but super dense trees around it. Like at least twice as dense as most of the forest in this area. Since I'm a dumb fuck, I think this means more firewood instead of being sus. Set up tents, make fire, pretty average night so far. Catch fish and cook dinner, tell ghost stories, swim in the lake, cheesy summer camp shit. Kids get in their tents at about 10. Pascal has a watch and we have a walkie-talkie for emergencies, but that's it for electronics. Pascal and I talk till about 12, girls and France and Minnesota shit. Head to our tent and sleep. At like 2 a.m. we wake up to a distant tornado siren. Sounds like a stereotypical air raid noise. If you grew up on the plains you know how eerie this shit is. I lived in southern Minnesota, tornadoes were pretty common in the summer there. Not up in the Northwoods though. In my 8 years of going to camp, only heard of a tornado warning once, let alone a full alarm. Also didn't think we were close enough to the town to hear it. Also didn't know they even had one. Either way, Pascal is freaked out because no tornadoes in Paris, pussies. Some kids understand, others don't. We all get our stuff but leave the tents because I don't want to be out here wasting time if this tornado comes. It's also dark. Like way too dark. Everyone grabs clothes and a flashlight, get single file and follow the trail out of the site. Super ominous with no animal noises whatsoever and these distant sirens and whipping wind being the only thing we hear. Kinda hustling. One kid trips and falls, skins knee. Realize we forgot the first aid pack. I want to keep going but kid turned on bitch mode. Pascal says he can run back to get it since we're only 5 minutes are. 15 minutes pass, Pascal comes running back with the first aid and a terrified look. Still freaks me out to this day. Dude is fucking white as shit and tosses me the pack and starts speed walking out of here. Kid barely has time to bandage knee. I'm weirded out. Wind sounds odd too. Like you know when an old tree sways in the wind. That groan but all around us. No moon, no stars, just this groan and that fucking siren. Can't believe I didn't notice anything off in the moment. As we keep walking out I get the walkie-talkie and radio in that our group is coming back to camp. Silence for a minute, wind gets creepier and some kids say they hear footsteps in the woods. Others think they're joking and say to fuck off. I'm still trying to radio in and Pascal is 15 feet in front of the group still not fucking talking. Shitting the fan.jpg. Eventually my camp director responds. Anon, what is going on? Just get me a van to the entrance to Lone Pine site ASAP. Camp has a van for shit kinda like this. I'm panicking. Director can hear so he just goes okay it'll be there soon. Should have mentioned the tornado sirens. They get louder, but we are walking in the opposite direction of the town. Those damn sirens. We get to the entrance of the trail, more and more kids mention footsteps. I think I heard them too but hard to tell with the sirens and wind. Still wondering why it's so dark. Spend a lot of time out in the woods out here, but this is different. Radio in and ask where the van is. 5 minutes out. Kids are crying, Pascal is sitting in the road silent, and my radio suddenly goes pure static. I'm freaking the fuck out. Groans of trees continue and now this one kid said he saw a person running in the woods. I scream at him to shut up. I'm losing it. Van finally comes. We all run inside screaming and some kids say people are running around the van. Driver is my friend, sees my eyes and knows he has to fucking floor it back to camp. We get back, but camp is empty. When there was a tornado drill, everyone goes to the bathrooms underneath the lodge because it's safe. We run there, ignoring the driver. A counselor steps out in a towel. Just showered. Whole camp isn't there. WTF. Camp director heard the noises we were making. Runs out of the lodge. Tells me to calm the fuck down. Takes my kids inside, staff calms them down. Notices Pascal, takes him inside too. A few more counselors come, and they talk to me outside. Tell them about the tornado. There is not tornado, they say. System failure. MP3. Asks me what side I was at. Say Lone Pine. One counselor whistles. Like that damn you fucked up whistle. Director frowns at me. Tells me I wasn't supposed to go out there. Closed it down for maintenance over the summer. Well, I didn't know that. Tells me we'll sort it out tomorrow. Get some sleep. We all sleep in the lodge because we're scared. Next morning some parents come to pick their kids up. Lucky bastards. Pascal isn't okay though. He still won't talk. Only in rapid French to the other Frenchies. They seem spooked. Pascal goes home basically, gets an early flight home, gets driven into the cities that day and never comes back to camp. Frenchies won't tell me what he saw. Only Amber. Thought that was Spanish for friend. No help. Anyways, camp director drives me out the site that day to pick up the tents. Tell her what happened. She nods, believes me clearly, but won't elaborate. We stay out of this area now, sorry I didn't tell you. Get to the site. Tents are shredded. Looks like they lost a fight to Wolverine. Director doesn't look surprised. Tells me to clean up. Goes to the fire pit and dumps some shit in there and mutters a few words. I start to say something. She hushes me and finishes her little monologue. Some language I can't understand. Latin or native I don't really know. We walk out of there in silence. Footsteps. Towards the site. Opposite direction from us. I start to panic again. Director tells me to relax. Get to the van. Basically says don't fuck with this place or say anything to anyone. Won't give me any more info. But doubles my pay for the week. That makes it better. Rest of the summer was normal. Never came anywhere near Lone Pine site ever again.
Creepy deep web stories. I have a few. If y'all like this one, I'll post more. Be 2 years ago. Dicking around with Polish friend. Head on to Hidden Wiki, Anon-chan, etc. On Anon-chan, some dude posts a link in some Cyrillic script with lots of exclamation points. Luckily enough, my buddy reads Russian. Translates it. It's up again, hurry. Fuck it, why not? Click the link. Here's what we saw. 3 dudes in military uniforms, shown only from the neck down. Speaking excitedly and super high-pitched / nervously in Russian. Friend reads Russian better than he speaks it, but he catches a few phrases. Basically, these guys are scared and excited, they're getting another one, etc. Eventually it becomes clear that they're out on the ice in some random ass lake in Siberia, ice fishing. After a few minutes of nervous chatter, fucking assault rifles start going off. Camera swings around wildly, eventually focusing on a poorly lit hole in the ice. Gurgling and splashing noises coming from it. These dudes, and others, are just straight pumping bursts down the hole. Eventually, after another few minutes, these dudes use long hooked poles to dig around and then heave something up. Shit you not. 20+ foot long fish like snake looking fucker, at least 3.5 feet in diameter. I'd say it was an anaconda, but it was brown and it had really nasty, flabby fins that they grabbed and stretched out, full of sea lice and holes and shit. Big black eyes, mouth full of the gnarliest teeth I have ever seen. Huge air sacs on its underside, looked like a lungfish or some shit. Video cuts to a series of photos of the thing, better lit than the video, presumably because they're shot with flash. Mottled brown skin with plenty of blood smeared all over it, from the bullets/scraping the sides of the hole they pulled it out of. One of the pictures showed what I'm guessing was the contents of its stomach, and there was all sorts of crazy shit in there. Don't go swimming in Russia.
Be me. Camping Innawoods with my longtime best friend for a week. He's got around 50 acres that spills into straight forest. Just the basics, tinned food, water, that kind of shit. Sleeping in the bed of my truck because perfect, no money for tent or camper. First day goes well enough, talked the day away while we fished. Head to bed, cap truck off in case rain. Sleep like a little baby bitch. Wake up around 7 or 8, debate getting a fire going to cook breakfast. Friend tells me he's gonna start prepping food, and I need to get firewood. Walk off into woods with shitty little Coleman's hatchet. Start breaking down little dead trees, get an armful of wood before I head back, super uneasy feeling, like when you fuck up and you know it. Like someone took everything out of my stomach and replaced it with primal fear sketched out, but think nothing of it. Head back to camp with wood and spooks. Cook breakfast, consisted of warmed up canned ravioli. Not buying ice and a cooler so I can eat fucking eggs in the woods. Eat our fill, pack up leftovers and head hiking. Made sure to pack stuff back into truck and lock it. Hike for about an hour, stop in a clearing and enjoy the view. Nothing but long grass in the middle and trees all around us. Brokeback Mountain. GIF. Enjoy the air, head back into the woods. Hiking back, food sitting like a fucking brick in stomach. Walk for what feels like hours. Oh shit, what time is it? Check watch, only around 2 or so. Not bad, left at 11. Wait, shouldn't we be at camp? And why does nothing look familiar? Panic mode engaged. Freak out to friend, gonna die in the woods. He says we're fine, camp shouldn't be too far. Walk for maybe 15, 20 minutes more. Oh shit, there it is. No problems here. Unlock truck, tum on radio to cool nerves. Not too far out, shitty signal but enough to get something. Relax for a couple hour talking about love life and shit. No girl for my own, but whatevs. Don't want ravioli again, go fishing for dinner. Down at pond from yesterday trying to catch something worth eating. Nothing so far, the entire pond seems dead still. Whatever, it's the evening, lots of critters to disturb the water. Managed to catch 2 or 3 little fish, not sure what type but no bigger than hand. How doleskin a fish. Webm. Bring back to camp, enjoying how quiet it is out. Get back and start skinning and deboning fish. Feel uneasy, but think nothing of it. Chomping down on fish, can't stop thinking about how still pond was. Friend breaks the silence. Shit man, you were gone for a while. Not a lot of luck today? Nah, swear to God it was like there were no fucking fish in there today, spooky as fuck. The entire forest seemed kinda quiet today. Sit and ponder for a bit. Did I hear any birds on the way back? No, I don't think I did. Was there any wind at all? Any breeze? Shit, I don't think there was that either. Not liking this one bit. Don't wanna pussy out on friend by calling it quits this early. Whatever, I'm just tired. Fix mattress in the bed of my truck for the night. No homo. Make a little fire and start burning shit to pass the time. Just doesn't feel right. Ask friend if he's ever gone this far back here. Yeah, I used to come back here with my dad all the time. Little backstory here, friend's parents died about a year ago, super fucking loaded. Left house to him, money to other family. Ask if he had any spooks back this far. Says nothing too bad, the worst was this hermit that lived about 2 or 3 miles out past the property line. He didn't bother them, they didn't bother him. Shrug it off, and head to bed. Sorry this is taking so long, typing on mobile. Wake up around 2 or 3. Shivering like a motherfucker, it's bad. Lay under the blanket for a bit. Decide fuck it, I'm gonna walk around to try and wear myself out and fall back asleep. Climb out of bed, careful not to wake friend. Not a dumb ass, so I make sure to keep tent in view. Walking in place, enjoying the stars and crickets. Hear something off in the distance. My mind playing tricks on me? Strain my ears to listen better. Crickets. 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 Silence. Ungodly moaning / muffled screaming. Shit my ass as I rush to wake up friend. Nigga, get the fuck up. Immediately tell him to be quiet and listen. He hears it too, can't be too far off with how muffled it sounds. Imagine covering your mouth with a pillow and screaming into it. Like pure screams, enough to crack your voice. Now play that far off into the woods, just barely loud enough to hear. Stomach is a swirling mess of emotions and shit, not sure what to do. Friend tells me they've got lots of coyotes back here, maybe one of them got a hold of a fox and killed it. Yeah, maybe. Sounds vaguely sentient though, like it's pleading. Lay in bed listening to the screams for what feels like forever, before finally passing out. Wake up next morning exhausted. Mind cloudy, can't think to save my life. Go take a piss out in the woods. Crunching leaves. MP3. Hairs on back if neck stand up, fight or flight activating. It's my friend getting sticks to make another fire. Well, what happened to the firewood from before? Up and left, must have burned through it all. Wait, shit, I get cell reception out here. Remember friend telling me about fox screams last night? Google fox scream human. Videos of vixen screams. Watch then. They sound close, but something about it seems too animal. Like it didn't have that fear behind it. Chalk it up to being tired. The rest of the day was the usual stuff: start fire, cook food, hike a bit, swim in ponds some, make bed for night. Laying in bed, refusing to fall asleep for fear of getting fucking gutted by skinwalkers or some shit. Hear the crickets again, something about it is just so calming to me. About to fall asleep when I hear it. Muffled screams like before, only clearer. Swear on my life I can hear something behind it. Can only make out the stronger parts of the word. Like a drawn out noise, or something. Eyes are welling up with tears, I don't wanna die man. Sit in bed until sun comes up. Decide fuck it, we got today and tomorrow and we're gone. I want to know what this noise is. Tell friend I want to head out back towards the opening we found. Seems uneasy about it, but agrees. Walking out, no talking between the two of us. Lifelong friends, this shit doesn't happen often. Always something to talk about. Around halfway their friend falls and twists ankle pretty bad. God fuck it, why now? Help him back to the truck and set him in passenger seat. Wait with him to make sure he's okay. Gradually gets more and more pasty. Cold skin, like a fever feeling. Fuck nigga, that's no good. Sit with him and talk, I want my bro to be okay. No good food to comfort, just ravioli and potted meat. Lap of luxury. Talk over our options. He can barely walk, so it wouldn't be easy getting him from A to B. And I really want to check out that noise from earlier. Fuck man, what do? Fuck it, I have this unexplainable pull towards this. Tell him I'll be right back, and book it out. Sprinting through forest, I need to know what this is. Get to clearing in maybe half hour, so not too bad considering the distance from camp. Again, no birds, no ambient noise. Just pure, piercing silence. Don't feel safe in the slightest, but I want answers. Cross cleaning into other section of woods. Much denser, light peeks through but in very small spurts. Kinda like a basement in the evening, seeable but dark. Walking super carefully, I don't fuck with no spirits. See a little cairn about 30 feet out, go check it out. Blue rags, long stringy black hair, and an ungodly smell. Pull rags out, they're made of denim. Okay, fuck this shit. Tree niggas got burial mounds covered in tattered clothes and hair. Nope the fuck out. Running through clearing, stop to catch breath. Now to get a scale of things, the clearing was maybe a football field and a half, and I am not a runner. Winded and gasping, all of a sudden hear that scream as clear as day. Whip head around. Tall, gaunt woman-like figure standing in tree line. Freeze up, this is how it ends. Feel intense wave of calm wash over me, I'm safe here. I want to go to her, learn who she is. Very beautiful, and seemingly angelic in nature. All but forget about sick and dying bro. Fuck, I need to get back. Turn around to run and I hear it. Branches snapping, grass rustling. Oh sweet dick, I'm gonna die here. Run faster than a fucking Olympian athlete. Legs taking me Mach 7, down through my trail. Entire time nothing but sobbing and moaning from behind me. Gradually slows down, like I got a tether and kept going. Stop to catch my breath about 5 minutes from camp. Back to a tree, don't want to ghost bitches sneaking up on me. Gasping and panting. Feel hand on shoulder. It's bro. Freak out, start talking a million miles a minute. See this ungodly fear in his eyes, he says nothing to me. Walk back to camp, scared shitless. Bro won't say anything to me as we pack up. Car drive home, spend the night at my place cause he says he wants time away from his home. Up until maybe 2 talking each other down. All of a sudden bursts into hysterics. Blabbering fool, sounds like a toddler learning to speak. Calm him down, ask him what the fuck he's doing. Says he got spooked after the second night of screaming, he had heard it too. Set his phone to record audio during our sleep. Schemed through it in the hour I was gone. Says he got through about 4 hours of cherry-picked sound when he saw something out of the corner of his eye. Super fast blur, long arms, skinny body, dark hair. Said he heard some kind of unholy laughter as it left, like it was playing a game. Ran in my direction. He couldn't do anything, twisted ankle and sickness. Kept listening to audio. Around what would be 5 a.m. hears rustling in recording uneven gait, like step, step step step, step. Giggling, almost like a child. Stops after a while. Rattling and the sound of my truck bed opening. Rusting shortly afterwards, and what sounds like cooing. Like a mother soothing a child. Zipper unzipping. Cloth tearing. Bed latching. Sprinting. Check back. Missing a pair of jeans. Wait just a fuck. Cairn in the forest. Fucking clothes. Inexplicable pull. Oh god. Whatever that thing was made a fucking burial site for me. Why? Why? Fucking why? Freak out, lock doors, close blinds, sit in bedroom with friend. Sit there until morning, and drive back to house. Entire place is torn up, glass shattered, furniture torn, doors scratched. It was looking for us here. Not enough money in the world would get friend to stay here, and not enough to get me to let him. Pack what little he can salvage and bring him back to my house. This was maybe a month ago. Dude's been staying here while we try to figure out what to do. May just tear the place down and sell the land, no way we're going to try and fix it up to sell it. Still have no clue what that woman was, but I know for a fact it wasn't anything I want to remember. I'll try to answer and questions as best I can. This whole story. Up, you better thank fuck every goddamn day you still breathe. You saw that waifish woman by the cairn. Waifish woman made eye contact with you. You felt calm, at ease, compelled to approach her, to approach the gravesite. But your friend, who twisted his ankle minutes ago, was alone in the truck. That memory, that thought, was enough to distract you, just enough to snap out of it. Once you turned away, the fear came back and you were pursued. The moment your friend lost his footing and twisted his shit up, that was the fork in the path of your fate that led to you not becoming some creature's fucked up torture doll and never leaving those woods again. This was the big tip-off. Step, step, step. Giggling. Stops. Rattling and truck bed opening. Rustling and what sounds like cooing. Like a mother soothing a child. Zipper unzipping. Cloth tearing. Bed latching. Sprinting. Basically. Waifish woman creeping up to your truck at night, giggling. Opens up the bed, where you and your friend are sleeping. Rustling starts sifting through your stuff. Cooing you woke up or were going to wake up, and she did it, the thing where she makes you calm and at ease, and you fell back asleep. You almost woke up to the sight of that thing hunched over in your truck bed with you, looking at you. In fact, you fucking might have done just that, but the relaxing thing made you go back to sleep and forget it. It took your pants because they seemed valuable to you and smelled a lot like you. It knew you were curious, it knew you'd look for them. It led you to the grave it made for you. It was waiting for you there. It started to draw you in by doing the relaxing thing again, and you almost walked right into your own grave. It didn't plan on your friend getting fucked up. It didn't plan on you remembering him and turning around. It was going to take you, and then take your friend. You fucking got away by a fucking hair.
Disclaimer, this is not my story, it was posted by someone on /x/last winter and I'm pasting it here from a .text file. Work at gas station. Little shitty box version, like outside department stores etc. The box I'm in is basically concrete, steel, rebar, and 3 inches bulletproof glass. Company spent a lot on this tank-like box. Pretty much after a certain hour and day, like 10ish, would lock all vending areas, coolers etc., and just sell gas till morning shift came in. At that point no reason to get out of box, all is prepay etc. etc. Q12ish am, little old beater of car pulls up. Out gets old lady, Asian, with that 70+ short Asian tiny and furious look. Comes to window, surprisingly polite. Launch weird shite.jpg. She starts looking at closed coolers, locked carts etc. Like she's browsing at shite she can't see/get to. Looks at me, Authie horror. Can't describe it well, but her face, was like she had all her skin replaced. I mean the complexion, the meshing of it was all wrong. This bitch had mole spots on her hands, and her old lady dress showed me her wrinkly old legs as well. But her face, and worse her smile. Ever seen those fuckers with the perfect/fake teeth, that seem to have no excuse but to give you a big look the fuck at me smile? That's this lady. So her face looks like someone copy-pasted it onto her. Her smile says look at me, I'm harmless. That shit-eating smile. Walks up to window. Starts tapping on glass. Ask her if she needs anything. Q fucking smile again. Says she needs to refuel. Ask her if she knows what to do. Replies with a dragged out oh yes. Raised eyebrow, but okay. Ask her for prepay amount, pay type etc. She looks at me, I forgot my purse, I'll be right back. Watch her got to her car, bend down into it to get a purse or what the fuck ever. She bends down, partially out of view. Bends down further, fucking gone. Can't see her. 5 minutes go by. No creepy face lady. Time to kakatupinach.ag. Scrapping at door, soft wrapping. Mind you this door is the only way in/out of this box. Tap. Tape. From register stare with fear at peephole that's in door. Decide to not look at murder hole of death. All of my fear in full effect. Then scrapping on roof. Tap. Tape. Same as before. Brain goes in overdrive. What if someone something wants in like in the movies. What happens in scary movies? Big evil what's it examines walls weak spots etc. Oh shit. Fuck me. Brain is making it worse for me. Decide to call office, in store. They can see my station etc. Let them clear my scared out head. Fucking jitters remembering this shite. Call office. How about this weather.jpg etc. Desk lady says what weather? You know, the wind, blowing shite around outside etc. Anonymous. What weather? It's calm as can be outside. What about you know, I fumble. It's a beautiful night anon, relax, no storms lol. Her slight shifting / walking around sounds. Aldhawk, is everything okay out there anon? Why I stutter into the phone. The western side lights are completely out. I can't speak. Along with your back pole light. Pole light is the parking light that's in most parking lots etc. Only one near me for about, 40-ish feet around me till customer parking starts. Anywho. At this moment I realize my folly. The phone in little box was in back of box. Behind privacy niche, for counting cash etc. Look around niche. Where the fuck's the light got? Only few lights on, so I can see in front of me at closed coolers etc. And who the fuck's there? Little creepy Asian lady. Her face, in that mismatched looking complexion. That fucking smile. Anon, I can't reach my purse, it fell. In my head bitch it's been 10 minutes. Anon she goes on can you come outside to get it for me? I mutter can't, as you can see having electrical issues etc. Bullshit excuse I know but I'm in full /x/ panic. Oh please Anon, she says, I'm so old and weak. That smile. Sorry, can't leave, this is too big. Bullshit excuse about emergency etc. Wrong thing to see. Satan. Smile fucking vanishes. Come outside she says. Slight rasp in her words now. Can't I stutter? This is where I cross over. This is where I fucking believe like Scully and Mulder. This little old lady. This fucked up face little old lady, maybe 5 feet 5 inches at best. She stares at me, with all of her fury. And she gets as close as she can to the window. And she slams her fist on it. Once. I mean fucking once. And grumbles something like fuel food hodgepodge together. And I shit you not. Glass cracked. Not like hair crack. I mean crack. On one of my days off before, some meth head took a shot at it with a .38. Glass was replaced, but I saw it, was a good crack, embedment etc. This though. It was like this lady put a 12-gauge slug 2 inches away and fired. I fucking lose it. Pick up phone, call office. Say emergency emergency emergency. Cops show up. Night Manger comes running, I'm in the back, fucking pale, and waiting. Hiding really. Pound on door. It's Manger Anon, with PD open up. Q hours later. And Q fucked up shite. Lights are back to normal. Cameras apparently didn't catch anything. Said storm musta knocked them out or something. Yeah, okay. Then look at glass. Go home Anon, see you tomorrow. Manager covers shift, go home with cross, Bible, and 1911. Q next day. The box looks like shit. Scratches everywhere. Door has paint stripped off in streaks. Chunks are missing from sides of box roof. Like something climbed it. Manager says there's actually a hole in roof, that is an inch from tiles etc. Squeak a yay sarcastically. Manager asks what happened. Q next day. Says that PD may want my statement if it's suspicious etc. Nope the fuck away from him, say must have been weather etc. Manger looks after me, yeah, I think so too Anon. Switch to different department after that. Everyone asked me for years about that story, wanting to hear how I was shot at. The worst thing is that I've heard that there was an employee who covered that shift after me. She stayed until last year, and since I left the company, I was out of touch. Visited recently, how's it going etc. They say she went missing last year. That she opened her door on her shift, and walked out the back door. The computer system went out, the cameras too, she's still missing. Fucked up thing is the guy working said the only lead they had was this fucked up beater of a car, that was seen briefly driving away from bank camera across the street.
Alright, liquored up enough. Here we fucking go. 1991. Was about 10 years old. Poor as dirt and lived out on a farm. By poor as dirt I mean we literally had nothing. No TV, no cameras, and besides a radio, nothing. We lived in a really rural area in the northernmost part of Wisconsin, no neighbors for more than a few miles. At home alone because my mom and dad needed to go into town to get some supplies. Listening to some shit I can't remember when someone bangs on the door. Strange, since we normally don't get people out here. Go to the door. There's a fucking crack in the door. Motherfucker hit it so hard there was a crack in it. Peek through the crack to ask him what was going on. He was naked and covered in blood. Pick related. Ask him what the fuck he was doing on our doorstep. I got in a car accident. Can you let me in to call someone to pick me up? The dude's tone was flat, kinda like how a computer sounds when it speaks. Tell him to get the fuck out before I go all mafia on his ass. He smiles and says that I won't regret it if I let him in. Get freaked the fuck out and run upstairs to get my dad's shotgun. Was a small kid back then, so it was heavy to hold and almost knocked me flat when I first shot it. Motherfucker was reaching through the crack to try and get in. Shoot his ass. I knew I hit him, because he pulled the fuck back and started running. Looked out of the crack and got ready to shoot him again when I see him running into the woods. On 4 fucking legs. Not how a person walks/crawls on 4 legs, this dude was like a fucking bear or something by how he ran. Too scared to shoot him again. Parents come home to me crying in the corner with the gun next to me. Dad freaks the fuck out when I tell him what happened. He said he can have some of the ice cream he got for me while he went out and tried to look for the dude. Came back the next day and immediately called my uncle who lived in Milwaukee to come and pick me up. The night before my uncle picked me up, I was doing my chores and checking on the cows. The same dude was in the barn, eating one of the stillborn calves. Nope. Go back to the house and tell my dad that some guy was helping himself to a burger in our barn. Goes out there with the gun and threatens to skin the dude if he comes back. The guy just laughs and walks off into the woods. Never came back.
OC. My 18th birthday party. October. Live out in the country in Tennessee. Dark as all kinds of fuck. Perfect chilly weather. Around 25 people all gathered at my house. We're playing manhunt. One guy runs off into woods. Everyone else waits an hour then hunts him with paintball guns. Plan on multiple rounds through the night. Couple rounds go by, no big deal. My 10-year-old brother draws short straw. Almost didn't let him go hide but he begged. What could happen? We tried to find him for -6 hours. Eventually find him terrified in a hunter perch thing in a tree. Friend who found him said he kicked him in the face and almost knocked him off the tree at first. I ask him why. He tells me that he heard me trying to find him below the perch hours earlier. He peeks out. It isn't fucking me. It isn't a fucking person. It stayed below the tree calling his name for a few hours. Ran off when it heard us coming to actually find him. WTF guys. Even though the old man told me to stop for nothing on that road while it's dark. It was natural for me to turn around and go back to help after passing 2 bodies lying in the middle of the road. I knew I should have listened when the 2 bodies stood up and another 20 hillbillies poured out from the pitch black banks on the side of the road to surround me. A guy I know had something similar happen. He was in Haiti with his sister and her hubby. Driving along the road they see a car with suitcases and clothes and stuff all over the floor. 2 people lying face down. His sister wants to look. The guys think fuck that and carry on driving. Look back, they see people coming out of the tall grass. The 2 on the ground get up. This freaked me the fuck out when I heard this for the first time. Think it was on an old forum or some shit. I was driving through the mountains once to visit a family member. It was a 2-lane highway that went around a bunch of tums. I did a 45-degree turn, very fucking sharp turn, pretty dangerous, and had to immediately slam on 5 to 6 cars. There were 2 things that scared me, though. 1, that the cars seemed perfectly fine and were still idling, and 2, that there were just bodies on the ground with no marks at all. I ended up weaving through the cars and bodies, not easy since it's a 2-lane road, and as soon as I was out, I looked at my rear view mirror. All the bodies had stood up but were still perfectly still, and there were now people coming out from the hillside, running. Needless to say, I drove out of there as fast as I could, and I definitely didn't drive that road on the way back. Cool. So, my dad's lived in a few unique places, such as Shreveport, Louisiana, where his family's chimney was struck by lightning, and South Dakota, which is where his first post-college job was. Dad works for engineering company in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, South Dakota. Shit pay. Right around the time he starts seeing my mom, knew each other in HS, never thought about it, got together after HS. Mom is getting dental hygiene degree back in the Cove. Dad's driving from South Dakota. Takes route through the northeast tip of Wyoming. Country road, tall grass on both sides. Dad has Mustang at the time because fuck you, he loves cars. Sees stopped car by the edge of the road. Couple trying to wave him down, he starts slowing down a good 50 meters behind them. Suddenly sees people in the tall grass starting to come out. He freaks the fuck out and guns it down the road. Looks in rearview mirror and sees about 15 people come out of the grass. I've heard other people tell similar stories like this. Is this a common carjacking technique or cult thing? B1 AM, driving home from work at local cinema. Only about 2 streets from my house. See something in the middle of the road, right under a street light. Brake as I get closer, as I realize it's a man. See that there's another dude also lying face down on the footpath on the right side of the road. Put car into park, open door. As I open door, I see the man's arm flinch. Get strange feeling. Close door. Decide to drive around the man in the street, and stop a bit up the road and call for help. Watch as both men casually stand up and I see what looks like hammers in their hands. Nope the fuck out of there, drive 2 streets home with my lights off in case they see me, and be scared of helping people on the road ever since. To clarify, I joined the Marines when I was out of high school. This happened several years ago while I was on leave. Driving from California to New Mexico. Taking shortcut through Amboy. At the time a satanic hotspot. Be about 5 p.m. Take a pic of the city sign to prove I actually took 1 to 40 to friends. Get back on the road, get to top of mountain. See some stuff in the middle of the road. Slow down, see a red Pontiac stopped sideways across both lanes. Open suitcase with scattered clothes. Man and woman face down in the road. Stop about 100 feet away. Hair on neck standing up. Immediately pull out my 9mm pistol from under my seat and chamber around. Way too perfect of an accident scene, like when civilians play dead in Iraq to lure soldiers into a suicide bomb radius. Admit I'm being paranoid, but can't bring myself to leave my vehicle. Scan the road, see a line I could drive. Pass the guy's left, swerve to the woman's right, go behind the Pontiac and I'm clear. Drop into first, gun it. Past the Pontiac without hitting any bodies, roll forward a bit before slowing down so I can stop panicking. Look in my rearview mirror. The 2 bodies are on their knees. 20 or so people emerge from the tall grass on either side of the road. Slam my foot onto the gas and speed down 1 to 40 until I got onto the next on-ramp. Eat up a ton of gas and coolant, nearly destroyed my Mustang's engine. Stop taking shortcuts to get anywhere. I will never know what would have happened to me had I gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them, and by God, I'm glad I never will. Boyfriend at the time lives 2 hours away in a remote town smaller than the one I live in. He comes to get me on weekends to spend time with him at his place. Road between our towns is super remote, barely any houses along it and has no gas stations in the 2-hour stretch. Boyfriend at the time and he had to pull over to pee. This stretch has no streetlights, no gas station, so you're pretty much fucked if you break down. He drove the car to truck pullover part, not sure what they're called, and got out and stood next to my open window facing away from the road so we could keep talking while he did his thing. He got back in the car and I thought I had heard someone call out. Now I watch a lot of spooky movies and something in my brain told me not to just get out of the car and start looking around for this noise. Now the spot we had parked had no houses nearby, we hadn't passed any cars in at least an hour, so it freaked me out a bit. I told my boyfriend what I heard and he fluffed it off saying I was hearing things. He goes to start the car and I hear it louder. It sounds like a woman who's chain smoked her whole life screaming out, "Help me." Boyfriend hears it too, starts the car with the intention of reversing so he could shine the headlights on the area the noise is coming from. I'm half out the window squinting into the darkness trying to spot the person. As the car starts, 5 people stand up from the tall grass and a man yells out, "She asked for help, cunt," and a group of people laughing.
I've told this twice before, we'll post again. My only Innawoods story and one of 2 events in my life that confirmed there are things that we, as humans, will never understand or know entirely. Week after HS graduation. Plan a small camping trip with 3 others, one being my cousin. Camping next to a bend in a creek that runs around a hill uncle's house sits on, pick related. Arrive just as sun starts to set up tent, start fire. No guns, small bottle of whiskey and some smoke. Haven't begun to partake in any of them yet, cousin and I spot lighting fish in creek after sun sets fully. Large campfire in background, roughly 25 yards away from us. Start to notice every time we turn off spotlight, hear loud whoosh, whoosh in the water, always twice back to back, def. Sounds like someone wading through the water. Turn light on, sound stops but heavy ripple/disturbance in water. Light off, starts again, figure out they are heading towards us, start to freak out, decide to keep it to ourselves, head back to fire with other 2 friends who are rolling a joint. Walk in mid-convo, they were talking about how it was creepy, and they could hear people talking around them in the woods, like whispers. It would come and go, not very loud, but consistent. Figured it could be people hunting for raccoon, or night fishing. We hear it as well, plain as day, and I make out one voice say in an almost whisper, "What are they doing here?" I freak out, everyone follows my lead and starts getting scared. Something runs through the tall grass behind us, outside of firelight, could have been animal, who knows. Decide that we've had enough, stand up, and say it's time to go. Everything goes quiet, I mean dead silent, cuz and I both hunters so we know what this means. Just then we hear a tree creak and slam into the ground, sounds like it had just fallen over. Everyone scared, especially girls, and just as they stand up a huge gust of wind comes in from the creek and almost puts out fire. Everyone is up and ready to go, we will come back for everything tomorrow morning. I start to jog towards ATV which wasn't parked far but in dim firelight stopped dead in my tracks, looking back almost felt like I was rooted to that spot out of sheer terror as I notice leaning up against our ATV is a dark shadow of a person, couldn't see feet but had to be over 6 feet 6 inches. Just chilling there, with one hand on front of ATV, it was so dark, it stood out. Against the pitch black night behind it, it almost radiated darkness if you can imagine. Just then girls and cuz catch up to me, also see this and are frozen next to me, girl lets out a loud scream that echoed forever. This thing flashes back towards the train tunnels shown on map above, it was so fast it had a trail behind it, I remember clearly. All jump on ATV, try to start it but it is very sluggish, like battery is low, we had to roll it forward a few foot to get it to start, but it did. As we are hauling ass out, our trail takes us right past the train tunnels. Get past them with no trouble, tbh I was avoiding looking at them the whole time as I was driving and didn't want to freak. Trail out takes us up steep hill that is entirely Innawoods, just a 4-wheeler path uphill with trees in every direction. Girl sitting on back starts to freak out bad while we are climbing hill, telling us to go faster, Please OMG. I ask cuz over shoulder what is up. He turns around and looks and doesn't say anything right away. After a second he kind of gasps and just tells me to punch it and holds on. We make it to uncle's house at top of hill and practically break door down to get inside. Girl who was on back is in a sheer panic, can't catch her breath, crying, shaking, just a fucking mess. She had to go home that night, then later to the hospital. In between sobs and cries and screams, I can make out that she's saying something like it was following us. What if it's here now? Anytime an adult would try to comfort her and tell her it was nothing, she became very agitated, saying she saw it, it followed us up the hill. Her parents show up and get her, as mentioned she had to be hospitalized. I asked cousin that night what he saw, or she saw that caused her to do this, or if it was just the whole experience. He was hesitant, wouldn't say it in front of others, but when we were alone later that night he said. When he turned around to look, he only saw it once before he turned around and shut his eyes, but every 10 to 20 seconds, always from behind a diff tree on either side of trail behind us, a tall black figure would peek out from behind a tree, and it had bright, white eyes almost like headlights that were wide open. Girl is still medicated from this, she completely broke down. Never went down there after dark again. Interesting, short, side story. Uncle was out hunting, at night, on the top of the hill behind his property with a coon dog. Standing at bottom of rock cliff, dog is up on top rooting around. Dog knocks a large rock loose and it fell down and hit my uncle in the head/neck, completely paralyzing his body's right side, blind in one eye. Nobody knows how he turned his four-wheeler around and got out of the woods that night, but after our story got published on a website and it made its Facebook's rounds, he texted my mother. He had surgery BTW, and made an, almost, complete recovery. In his text, and mind you my uncle is an honest man if there ever was one, doesn't lie, wouldn't tell you something if it wasn't true. He said that the man in the black hat we saw that night was the person who helped him turn his four-wheeler around and got him out of the woods that night, basically saved his life. That really fucked my mind hard. Still don't know what to make of it.
On a hike one day, roaming through the Peak District, UK, by myself. Quite late in the summer evening, was planning on setting up a small camp for the night somewhere close by. Scour the horizon for good forested spots, great for shelter from wind. Suddenly hearing something shift behind me. It's a deer. Throw a twig at it in frustration for making me jump, it runs away. Head for the woods across a grassy meadow, making sure to keep my eye out for any ditches in the grass. My mate broke his leg in a deep hole in the past. Notice something writhing in the grass up ahead. Wildlife ecologist, so I head over to make sure it isn't a distressed animal trapped in something. Suddenly, it bolts, was probably a fox. I make it to the tree line, start feeling a little off, like something is watching me. Very dark now, need to set up camp no matter what. As I'm setting up, a guy comes charging through the fucking bushes screaming something about a big dog up ahead. It had bit him in the leg, was bleeding bad. I offer to patch him up, let him stay with me for the night. He's a cool guy, we share stories, have a few beers I brought along. Midway through the night I wake up to find him leaving the camp, says he needs to check on something he heard. Never comes back. I freak the fuck out. Head hurts due to beer and no sleep, so I put my head down for a second, get up, something catches my eye from under nearby log. Fucking human skull. Packed up my small tent. Fucking ran for my life.
I have some creepy stories involving spending my summers out at my grandparents' lake house in NC if anyone's interested. Summer of 2007, be 14 years old. 7-hour car trip from New Jersey to North Carolina with older sister, 16 years old. Tired and groggy as shit from the ride. Greet grandparents, yada yada. Decide to take a brisk walk in the forest to stretch legs. Nice cool breeze, sun was setting, and surprisingly there was a lack of mosquitoes. Known fact, I'm allergic to bug bites, so you could imagine the sweet relief. About half a mile in I began to hear branches breaking around me. Would occasionally stop and look around for the sauce, but of course the sounds just happened to cease every time I did. Seen enough horror movies to know where this shit was going. Decided it was best to bolt the fuck out of there. Began sprinting back to the lake house. Out of shape, out of breath, didn't get very far. Hear the branches snapping again. Tried sprinting again, but the branch snapping got louder and louder with each step. Felt a presence directly behind me. Turn around, fight or flight, ready for the worst. Eased up, it was a fucking kid maybe half my size. Bright blonde hair, blue eyes, and a gray hoodie. Hi. Hi. Have you been following me? One of me. What? Haha, he laughs, running off. Freaked out, sort of moonwalked my way back. Snapping eventually returned though. Finally made it back, asked Grandpa about kids playing in the forest. Gave me this dumb look. Anon, you remember that we're 15 miles from the city, right? Tell him about the kid. Seem kind of troubled. Said a kid with the same description watches him from the shore when he goes out in his boat, and swears he sees him running around the house late at night. Went on to say he's had his fair share of strange experiences, and tells me to keep this from my sister and grandmother. Says grandma calls him a loony bin when he tells her. Long story short, I spent that summer trying to relieve his own experiences he shared with me, excluding some he refused and threatened me not to do. 2 or so days pass after the incident with the boy. Grandpa goes on to tell me that there used to be a plantation right across the lake that got torn down. Says that you can hear talking and singing late at night if you get close enough to that field. Curious but still spooked from a few days back, I kind of lay it off for a week until he volunteered to go with me. Night falls, we take his small rowboat to cross. Says we should be careful of lake mist, since it was getting noticeably a bit misty when we left. Tells me to keep an ear out wailing while we're rowing across. Didn't know what he meant by that until we were too far in to turn back. He pointed out to water and there was the sound of a woman literally wailing. Made a hush gesture with his hands, and we just kept paddling until we reached the shore. Mist became noticeably more dense out. We walk for about a mile. Grandpa stops, puts his hand on my chest. Anon, listen. Kind of squinted my eyes for some reason to concentrate. Hear faint whispers of voices. Feints would randomly spike up for seconds at a time. Words that I could make out that stood above the rest were baby, look, please, and faster. Eventually died down. We decide to just walk back to the house precautiously due to the fog worsening, make sure to take the side of the lake opposite from that wailing. He manages to distract me long enough to reach us back by telling a story of how he fell down a well back here and was trapped there for nearly half a day and would catch glimpses of shadows looking down at him while he panicked / was eventually found by his own grandfather who heard his screams. We get inside for a bit to eat, grandma and sis all happy that we're okay. Grandpa and I sit outside, he asks me what I heard. Tell him words from above. We begin cracking up. He makes a joke about the ghost getting freaky. Reminds me to keep it hush, and we retrieve the boat in the morning. Hear ghostly voices mumbling baby, please, look and faster. Woman screaming. You probably didn't hear her right when she said fuck and your innocent child brain assumed she said look while moaning baby please fuck faster. Also the wails were screams of ecstasy coming from a banshee getting bent over a fallen log. Your grandpa knew exactly what it was. I guess he didn't think you were mature enough to handle it, so he played it off and acted all spooked. Alright then, here it goes. So, this was about 10 or so years ago, but I've only just got permission from my brother to disclose the story since I felt his input on it was the most crucial. So, here goes my carnival days and my brother's obsession with unicorns. Be me, a 19-year-old high school dropout who literally ran away to join the circus. I'm working the carnival circuit, get in with the South Africans who practically run the joint. They like me, ask me what I do. I said I'd like to operate the rides, and the big boss let me know that you need some kind of permit to operate rides. I ask what I can do then, and he tells me to go to the juggler. I received the proper training to be a juggler. For anyone in the carnival track, a juggler's last learned skill is how to juggle. No one cared about jugglers unless they're juggling fire or chainsaws. That said, a juggler is the staple of any carnival or circus. No one suspects a thing when all your employees mention you're the juggler and nothing else. And that's why jugglers were invisible, and why juggling made more cash than just about any ride operator if you were skilled enough at it. I worked the circuit a couple times. The whole place picked up and moved to another location, but never really left the Chicagoland area. I was never far from home, but I rarely spoke to anyone there. My older brother and I had been mostly silent compatriots. He liked unicorns. Now, before you go assuming he's into a certain purple dinosaur too, he hated that one show. In fact, I was actually a fan until mid-third season. Everyone knew he liked unicorns. People would buy him cutesy stuffed ones. He had posters of unicorns fighting dragons and other badass fantasy themes with them. He'd even cite it as the fact that he believed they're real. Honestly, he'd take up the stance when people would bring up a god and he could say that he believed in unicorns, and so far no science can prove that. That said, only recently did he say why he believed. I saw one. Now, I was pretty much ready to throw him in a psyche ward at that point, but he admitted he was young and I chalked it up to false childhood memories. We all kinda remember something our imagination came up with when we were little, and we were too naive to not know it wasn't real. Despite the knowledge I know now, at the time I thought nothing of it, and just that my brother liked unicorns. So one day while I'm out juggling, I pilfer a receipt. It was one of those green ones with the lines where you'd handwrite it as opposed to it being printed. The receipt was $4,000 to be paid on arrival for a unicorn. I called my brother on my first phone, a Nokia brick. I told him about the receipt thinking he'd get a laugh like me. He asked if the receipt had an address. It did. He asked me how much money I could scrounge together. I told him about 1.5K. While true I said it like a joke, but his voice was determined. I can get the rest. I'll be there to pick you up. I wasn't even done with my shift, but he didn't really ask. He pretty much just told me we were going before hanging up. Told the chief I was heading off early. I gave him his part of the money I made juggling, but told him nothing of the receipt. My brother arrives precisely when he said he would. This was not new. He'd almost always predict how fast he could get to a desired location and would typically arrive on the minute. I get in the car. He asks if I need to stop at the bank. I said yes, and he said do it fast, and proceeded to open the map to chart our course. He tells me to put it with his money in the back. I noticed a bowling bag, but it was far too light to be holding a ball. It was filled with cash, not even bound neatly by 100s, it was just like wadded up 20s and a scarce 100 around. Doing as he said, we came up to the property that the receipt sent us to. There's like 3 horse trailers along the side. I'm expecting a scam, but the anger of the voice that came from the house told me otherwise. Holding a gun, the man basically kicked open his front door and sighted his rifle up to us. I thought you said it was just for you, no one else. I was no good in social interactions, but my brother was even worse, so I took up that torch. I'm sorry, he found out and is really into unicorns and begged me to see it. The man seemed content, but still unhappy about this. It's in this one. The man pointed to the first horse trailer closest to us. Hook it up to your truck and I'll take your cash now. I wanna see it first, my brother said in a tone like he was dreaming, and walked forward to peek in the window. Better get to your friend, he's looking like he's seen enough. My brother had already dropped the bag just at his side, and the man picked it up without a word between them. Curiosity got the better of me and I looked with my brother through the window. I saw nothing, just blackness in the window, my face pressed close until my whole vision was black. As I fell away from the window I realized I was sitting in the passenger seat of my brother's car. "It's a shame too" was the first thing I heard when I came to, but he continued as if I was listening the whole time. "He was a really nice specimen, but he didn't like you." "Who?" I croak out. "The unicorn," he says calmly. "There was nothing in there, we are carrying an empty trailer." I turned and looked out the back window of the car. No trailer, no bowling bag in the back seat. "What happened?" I ask. My brother just says, "Oh my God. You don't believe in unicorns, do you?" My silent questioning echoed within the car. "But I do." "Since when?" he asks, smiling like a Cheshire cat. "Right now. Next time, you'll see it," he said with that grin on his face, but turned to the road. "They're more beautiful than I've ever imagined." This event wasn't ever really mentioned again between us, but neither of us looked at unicorns the same way. There was this sort of bond that was established while seeing unicorns in public, a knowing glance like we were both in on a joke. Eventually we go our separate ways again and start our lives. I called him up recently to ask about that time we bought a unicorn. "Yeah, he really didn't like you," he reiterated during the conversation. I didn't tell him what I had seen before calling him, I merely asked if I could tell the story. He didn't care, he was always a laid-back guy and basically knew his name wouldn't even be attached. The true terror that instigated this call was none other than that unicorn. I was even staring at it through my back porch window during the call. It was nothing like its white and glittery depictions on girls' trapper keepers. This thing was unlike any animal I've ever seen, but somehow while looking at it you just knew what to call it. Unicorn. Ideally perfect, flawless, and stunning anatomy that puts even the most biologically advanced animals to shame. When I turned on the light in my dining room, where I can see the back window from, as the light turns on, the unicorn was gone in an instant. The light turned on, like a shadow. I may not be the most pure human on earth, but I feel like there are people way worse than me to warrant a unicorn's wrath. I realize I may have left some things out or just couldn't describe it proper, but I'll try to give you the facts as I know them. The unicorn salesman. He had previously spoken to the owner of the receipt, which I pilfered from someone's pocket and I don't even know who, over the phone. This much I understood when he spoke to us and raised his rifle. I honestly thought we were as good as dead when he aimed his rifle at us. I literally hoped he'd shoot my brother first because it looked like a single bullet bolt action and I felt it'd give me enough time to get to the car. I'm glad we didn't get shot, but it wasn't the weirdest thing that day, so I tend to forget how intense that was. The unicorn. It's very hard to explain what this felt like seeing it. Based on what my brother had reacted to all of this, I kinda garnered that he saw something as a kid, but couldn't remember it, but just because he couldn't picture it in his memory, but knew it happened. The best example I can give is when you try to picture that person in a dream but they didn't ever really have a face or spoke, but they had the impression of a face and voice. The first time I looked in that window, there's just a spot in my memory that is just gone. The one example I can give is when I had to go under anesthetic gas for a surgery. They started the gas and before I was done counting to 10 I woke up with a bit of pain. This was like that, but instead I kinda just blinked and all of a sudden I was driving home with my brother and the memory of something. Living, breathing, thing that I remember as vaguely equine in nature. I knew this had happened, but could draw no memories from it. So, I basically didn't see anything, but I just knew what happened was real. My brother's second meeting with a unicorn. So, that was my first sighting, but my brother saw his first unicorn earlier in his life, so when he encountered it later there was a lot more to remember. My brother's second meeting with a unicorn, so, my brother truly saw it without this weird memory wipe. Apparently I was conscious between blacking out while I looked in the window and coming to in the passenger seat. and my brother implied I spoke as well. Now, the other part is that the only reason I came to was because the unicorn escaped, and so I was no longer under its spell. My brother said that while we were trying to corral it I spoke, moved cognitively and seemed to see and know where this creature was, but I still remember nothing. And lastly on this part, my brother remembers it all and just felt like the thing innately didn't like me. My second unicorn sighting, and the one since. It was in my backyard, garden for you lovable Brits. It just stared at me and I saw it. It was just weird looking. It's so hard to explain because none of its features seem to relate to anything on Earth. It has this sort of telepathy, but there's no words. It's just like complete dread feeling, and a feeling like you know someone is upset with you, but hasn't confronted you about it. I've been visited by this thing 3 nights now. The first time it just flashed out of existence when I turned on the light. The second time I tried to ignore it and eventually it wasn't there. Third and last time I tried taking a picture on my phone and there's nothing that comes up. Not even in the viewfinder before you take the picture. I call it a unicorn and I still feel like that doesn't begin to describe it, but I'm pretty sure it's just what my brother called it as a kid because he liked unicorns. I hope that I've explained enough to help you. If you have any more specific questions I'll keep an eye out on this thread. TLDR for update, I saw the unicorn again, but it literally doesn't seem like an actual flesh and blood creature just because of how it literally just seems to blink out of existence. I really hope this isn't just schizophrenia setting it.
AR-15 won't work unless you clean it every day. AK-47 should be cleaned at least once a year. Mosin-Nagant was last cleaned by a Russian conscript in Berlin in 1945. AR-15, if the firing pin breaks you send it to the factory for repairs. AK-47, if the firing pin breaks you buy a new one. Mosin-Nagant, if the firing pin breaks you just screw it deeper into the bolt. AR-15, your accessories cost more than the rifle. AK-47, all your accessories cost around $300. Mosin-Nagant, all your accessories come free with the rifle. AR-15, accountant's rifle. AK-47, factory worker's rifle. Mosin-Nagant, if you can fill out an application, you can probably already afford it. AR-15, tax return will get it. AK-47, tax return will get you 2+ mags. Mosin-Nagant, tax return will get you a case plus enough ammo to last you till doomsday. AR-15, made when jet passenger flight was fairly regular. A 47, made when knowing how to fly could make you an officer. Mosin-Nagant, made when hot air balloons were considered the ultimate flight technology. AR-15, buttstock is collapsible, only used to aid in shooting the rifle. AK-47, buttstock is also good for knocking some oppressor's teeth out. Mosin-Nagant, buttstock is good for use as a sledgehammer, crutch, club, or boat oar.
My granddad told me a strange/funny story about something that happened to him in Vietnam. Some details I can't recall, but I'll try. Be granddad with granddad squad trapsing the jungle fighting Viet Congs. Starts to get dark so they set up camp for the night. As dawn breaks somebody spots movement a few hundred yards away. Granddad squad shits a brick and finds cover. It looks like a 10-man team in single file coming towards them, cutting through the brush with machetes. Squad decides not to engage and stay in cover. The strangers get closer, apparently on patrol. They get to within a few yards. This is it. It was then that my granddad and the rest of the squad realized. It wasn't people at all. It was a group of monkeys, armed with sticks, on patrol apparently. As the squad watched on, he said that they, the monkeys, kept formation, single file, and almost acted human. Their behavior was intelligent. He wasn't sure if the monkeys were looking for soldiers or food, but the squad thought it better if they stayed hidden and waited for them to pass. The way he told it was better, but the thought of a line of chimps patrolling with sticks always makes me smile. Must have been surreal.
Be a few nights ago. Living in a pretty suburban area, with small patches or bushland dotting the place, but one particularly large one with a huge creek not too far from my place. Lying in bed when I hear someone letting the dogs out for a midnight piss break, don't take too much notice of it. Not long after, starting to doze off when I hear what I can only describe as a gurgly, yet still human, shriek. Sounded female, but only if said female had screamed whilst simultaneously drinking a glass of water. Wide awake now, confused as fuck, even more alert. Dogs hear it too, hear them bounding towards the fence, barking like they were about to have their final glorious battle. Shortly after the dogs begin barking, hear another strange noise. Started out as a deep sound, which sounded like a mix between Barry White going and one of those doorstop things that make that glorious sound when you flick them. Freak the fuck out even more when after the initial sound, hear the same voice making an sound that is like a mix of a low as fuck seal cry and my ridgebacks bark, each one sounding more and more like the dogs. Grab my knife from next to the bed and run to the back door, hold it open a little and make the come inside whistle, which consists of 3 notes, that our dogs usually obey straight up. Both the dogs come barreling towards the door, the ridgeback runs straight in, but the fucking Jack Russell stops, turns around and starts yapping at the fucking fence where the noises were coming from. Becomes more of a higher pitch, like the 2 barks were being played over each other. Fucking dog come inside fa. Whistle again and tap the knife on the door, hear a small bang on the fence and the Jack Russell hightails it inside, tail firmly between its legs. Slam the door, lock both latches and pull the washing machine out a bit to block the door because fuck taking chances. Check both dogs for injuries, nothing, both seem happy as fuck, like nothing even happened, send them both to bed. Grab a torch and walk around the house, looking out random windows to see if it was some fucker screwing with me. Noon to be seen, half shrug it off and head back to bed, keeping the knife and torch even closer to me now. Laying down, beginning to doze off when I smell what seemed like rotting flesh. Half panic, half calm, considering that for some reason, the local rats like using our pool as a burial ground and we have to constantly fish out bloated rodents. Sit up, prepare to go out and check the pool through the window, when I hear it. Right from outside my bedroom window. I hear the exact same whistle we used to get out dogs to come inside, followed by one singular from what sounded like if I opened the curtains, I'd be face to face with whatever made the sound. Lose my shit, grab the knife, call dogs out, grab torch, temporary adrenaline plus anger-fueled bravery, dogs must be feeling it, they're following without question. Sweep the yard, dogs sniffing around like dogs do, check pool, no rats, the fuck? Turn to go back inside, walk towards door, dogs both dart to attention, looking at the area behind the shed, hear a come out from behind. All I hear before bolting for the door, dragging the dogs inside is a grotesque sounding the fuck. Nothing has happened since then, I've checked behind the shed during the day, no signs of anything larger than a dog hiding back there, area is covered in low-hanging vines, so it's irritating as fuck to go through it all. Not the greatest story, I know, but I felt that I should share.